Here is what I believe is a 1987 Mercury 8-horse. This is exactly how I've bought it. I paid $400 for it. Came with the plastic tank. I haven't even had the hood off of it yet. You can see it's a 8-horse. When I bought it, the guy told me that it ran. It didn't rev out in the high end. So what we're going to do is put it into a tank, see if it runs, see if we can rev it out, and we're going to rebuild the carburetor regardless on it. So yeah. We got our in our recycling bin. I'll have to turn water on because it's winter time here, so we've got the water all shut off, but I'll turn it off, fill it up. Doesn't look so bad. I'll try to start it. I'm not even going to check to see if it has spark or anything. The guy said it ran, and I believe him. That looks like it's supposed to be mounted somewhere. Carburetor doesn't look super dirty. So I'll get it filled up. We'll get some fresh gas in that. It was filled with stale gas, so I got rid of that. But I have some fresh stuff, and we'll fill that tank up and see if we can fire this thing up. Looks like there's still some gas in here, so we'll get rid of the old gas. Try to get as fresh a gas as I can through it. The gas doesn't look bad or smell bad, but we'll get rid of it anyway. Okay, we cleaned out the filter bowl. Oh, I guess it'll help. If I put the actual filter back in. Okay, we'll try to pump some fresh gas up into it. Okay, we'll give her a start. Okay, I got the garage door open now. And we'll give her a start if you want to know what January in Canada looks like. Not really, but that's what it looks like today. Okay, we'll see if she starts. I don't know, to me it sounds like it runs pretty good. So I'm not sure what the guy was talking about, but it's also hard to rev it out because of this this whole throttle gear shift in one mechanism going on here. So that's going to make it difficult to do full throttle. But we'll pull the carb off, and it's going to get a cleaning. We'll use the ultrasonic cleaner for that, and so yeah, that's what we'll do. All right, I've pulled this thing over into light, so hopefully we get a better view of it. We're gonna have to pull the carburetor off, which means likely I'll pull this recoil assembly off just so we can see the carb better. We'll have to pull the choke assembly. This whole assembly will have to come out, and then we'll have a couple of 13mm nuts. Back those off. The carb will come out. We'll also have to get our throttle arm. Is that a shift arm or is that throttle? That's a throttle. So we'll have to disconnect that. And I don't think we'll have to touch the shifter. And the carb should come right up. So first thing we'll do is remove just 3 10mm bolts holding the recoil on. Just get that out of our way. That gives us a better view of the carb. You can see down into the carb there. There's a little tang right here that pops out, and there's a screw right there. I don't know if you can see that. But that screw backs out. That screw is there to stop your assembly from pulling out. So we'll have to back that out in order to pull this whole choke assembly out of the front. So easy. It should come out easily. You just have to be mindful that all these plastic parts are 20+ years old now. So they can and will break. So there's that clip. And that clip just holds this assembly in. Now if we back off that screw, that should allow us to pull this assembly out. I'm not sure if we want to hold down on that. Yeah, we do. So that piece comes out, and the piece I left behind it might need to come out with the carburetor. There's another piece there that'll fall out once the carb gets pulled off. So we'll have to be sure to grab that part before we lose it down into the belly. That throttle should just pop straight off. We can set that. So we'll take a 13mm and we should be able to one. We'll reach under this filter. course I can't get a wrench on it. Okay, we'll come back to that. I think I'm gonna have to get a slimmer wrench on that. So we can cut these zip ties off. This is for our fuel connector. I'm just gonna grab a rag and pop that off. Okay, I'm gonna grab a wrench for that and I'll come back. Okay, found a wrench. This is very weird, it's zip tied on. I'm not sure where this is supposed to go. If we're missing a part or what. So you drop the one down in. Here's the second one. Am I gonna have to remove that front piece too? Yeah, looks like I'm gonna have to remove this plastic piece here. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, I got a wrench, 8mm. I should probably find all these wrenches beforehand, but I don't. And I don't want you guys to hear me rooting through my pile of junk wrenches. Okay, got my 2 bolts. Now hopefully there's a spring down here that I'll need to remove as well. And hopefully this plastic piece comes out because something is... Oh, I think I just needed to jiggle it loose. So what do we attach to there? We got a vent hose in the bottom. Pop that vent hose off. And there's our carb. Okay, now we have the carb out on the workbench. The carb doesn't look that dirty. but we're going to take it apart and put it through the ultrasonic cleaner because I intend on selling this, and I'd rather have a carb cleaned and know that I'm selling it as best I can. This is the primer, and this is that little piece that we didn't want to lose. It just slides right back into there, so we've got all that aside. There's our parts. I managed to drop both of these nuts in the bottom of the tank, so I'll have to fish those out later. So the first thing we'll do is see if we can pop that wool off the carb. Not bad at all. I'm not even sure if this motor had a problem or if the owner had the problem. I think maybe he might have had the motor running a bit rich. Just didn't know what kind of a mix to put in because I don't really see anything too horrible. Doesn't feel hard. Carb really looks pretty good. It looks like there's some sludge, a little bit, not nothing much. So the nice part about the ultrasonic cleaner is that you don't have to pull the carb apart all the way. Like, you can float that carb and clean it as is. The fuel mixture screw, we might back that out so we get a good clean inside of that. But we don't have to worry about the rubber or anything like that. Any of the plastic, nothing. None of the chemicals are harsh enough to even affect that. So what we'll do is, I don't have my cleaner. I've lent it to a friend, so we're gonna have to come back tomorrow and we'll boil this carb up and throw it back on and fire this thing back up. We might pull the plugs and check them. But other than that, okay, let's pull the plugs, have a look at them. I don't suspect they're going to be that bad. There's the bottom plug. There's the top, and that's a Champion QL82YZ. YC. QL82YC. So they don't look bad. I don't know if I'll even replace them, but I might. It'll probably be 5 months before I sell this motor, so it won't hurt. I'd love to figure out what's going on here. There's a zip tie that holds this filter assembly, and obviously this gets mounted somewhere, so I might look at some fiche to see if I can find an assembly and figure out why that looks like that. There's got to be a mount or something that goes, oh, that's the mount for the, and that's the hole for the recoil assembly. So I don't know where that goes. So we'll find that out, I guess. Overall, it's a pretty good looking motor though. I think once we get past the winter, it should sell in the spring pretty good. I'm guessing that I'll probably, I don't know, I bought it for $400. I'll probably get $650 for it maybe. I'll get a lot of offers of $300 from Facebook Marketplace, as I always do. So it says this engine has passed the factory test run by tester number. Just taking a look at the missing part. It looks like this part, I don't know what it's made out of, but looks like it screws onto the very top, and it would end up getting pushed into this little rubber grommet on the recoil assembly. So I'm just gonna make my own. Okay, I found a piece of material, just black Delrin. What we're gonna do is, this piece measures about 3/8 of an inch. So we'll tap an M6 hole, turn this down to 3/8-ish, round it off, part it off, and thread it onto the stud. And hopefully that'll push right back in, and I guess it just holds in there with tension. So let's do it. Alright, here's the little part that we made. So I'm going to thread that on. Same ish. So that's how that's supposed to go. Pretty easy fix. Alright, so I got my my cleaner back. What we're gonna do is I've disassembled the carb as far as I want to go. Got the bowl, primer assembly. I've got all my primer parts in here because there's some small fiddly bits that I do not want to lose. Have the main body of the carb. We've taken our air fuel mixture screw out, which is there. There's our jet. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this part in, this part. The small parts I'll put in the jet. We won't put that in there. And then we'll do that. We'll set that for about a half an hour. You can see I have it heating up. So it's just hot water and a cleaner, a solution. So we'll run that. We'll put those parts in, run that for a half an hour, and we should be good enough with that. So parts going in, just a matter of lifting up our basket. Put the main body in first. Float bowl. There's our primer assembly. This small bit, generally what I do is I'll put it into some kind of a vessel so that I can capture it. I'm not going to worry about it now. We'll set that for half an hour. And we'll come back in a half hour and have a look. There's our parts out of the ultrasonic parts cleaner. What I'll do is I'll rinse these parts off just in hot water. I'll make sure all the parts are dry. There's no water left in the passages or anything. Reassemble the carb, and then we'll get to put the carb back on and we can fire this thing back up. Okay, our carburetor is ready to go back in. So the first thing we want to do is plug in our hose on the bottom. We can slip the carb down into it. Just going to start that 13mm nut, both of them. And I'll just leave the carb loose until we get this assembly in. So we put that together like that. That goes through. In. There we go. So you gotta kind of push this forward to get that to catch and go in. Once I tighten that screw back down, That whole assembly can't come out. We can tighten up our 13 mil nuts here. So this front piece of our primer, there's a little notch in here and a notch in the case. So that fits in so that it reads that our idle speed facing up, slow start. So you just have to find that little notch, and then we can put the clip back in. So that looks like it works correct. So we'll just put our throttle arm back on. Make sure that's in place. Okay, now we'll have to put the recoil back on. Recoil goes on. There's our fuel line. And another fuel line. We also have to make sure that we put this arm back on. That is for our neutral safety. Then we can put our bolts back in. I'll put a couple of zip ties on here, and then we'll wheel it over and give it a start. Okay, got our recoil back on. I just need to pump some gas. So the primer bulb's hard, and I'll pull down on our prime. Neutral, run is on. I'm happy with that. What I'll do is I'm going to pop the gas line off. I'm going to start it, run it out of gas, and I'll put the cowling back on it. We'll flip it around, and I need to do the bottom end gear oil change on it, and should be done. Okay, what I did was I ran the motor out of fuel. Just let it run until it sputtered out, and then I popped the filter off, just so I can get as much gas out of it, because this motor is going to sit for a few months anyway. What I'm going to do is I will finish up by doing the gear oil. And hopefully something comes out, and hopefully it's not milky or anything. And I can just put some fresh oil in it and be done with this thing. That looks good. Actually looks pretty clean. I probably shouldn't have even done it, but whatever. So I'll pump some new stuff into that, and that should about do it. I'll put the cowling back on. I'll make a stand for it. You can see I got another one there on a stand. I just make a wooden stand, let them sit there till the spring, pull them back out in the spring, fire them up, and sell it. All right, there's last look with the hood, cowling. So I think it's going to be a decent motor. I still may buy a carb kit and replace the little diaphragm for the primer. It looked pretty crusty, so I think it's decent enough to put the money into it. I could probably get one off Amazon for fairly cheap. So I'll just let that keep draining out, and it's pretty cold, so I'll just let it go. It might even go overnight, who knows. So that should pretty much do it for this one.